The current Atlanta Opera production of George Gershwin's Porgy and Bess features groundbreaking visual technology for the sets of this great American opera. Dramatic high-definition video and still images are projected on two massive screens that span virtually the entire stage. These images will stimulate the audience visually without overpowering the performance of the opera itself. Set designer Richard Kagi has been careful not to allow the technology to detract from the Porgy and Bess story, but rather has used it to heighten the excitement and enjoyment of the opera. As striking as these visual images are on the screens, it is perhaps what goes on behind the screens that will create the biggest changes in how operas are produced using this new technology. Let's go backstage and see what we mean. The images are rear projected onto the screen by an array of relatively inexpensive projectors. Computer software converts images from a PowerPoint-type program to the component parts displayed by each projector and automatically calibrates the output to appear as a single large image. The framework that holds the screen and projectors is modular and breaks down into component parts, each of which has projectors permanently mounted to it and has its own set of casters. The rectangular shape of the components makes for compact loading into a tractor trailer. At load into the theater, the component pieces are assembled into rows and bolted together. The top row of each screen has frames attached that will support a front truss onto which the screen is attached. There is another front truss attached to the bottom row. Assembling the framework for the small screen is a very easy process. The top row is positioned under a pair of motorized lifts and then raised up sufficiently to allow the next row to be moved underneath. The two rows are then bolted together. Side frames are added to each row, over which the screen will be stretched on the sides. The next two rows are added in similar fashion. Finally, the bottom row that carries the controlling computer and power cables is moved into position. This row has a set of larger casters that will support the entire screen framework. When the framework structure is complete, it can be easily rolled across the stage. Next, the actual screen is attached to the framework. It is a large piece of thin PVC, similar in texture to a shower curtain, reinforced and grommeted around the edges. Starting at one corner, the screen is tied to the top truss at short intervals. Fortunately for the screen installer, the framework can be moved for easy access. Once the top is complete, the two sides of the screen are attached to the side frames by bungee cords that stretch the screen material flat and wrinkle-free. Finally, the bottom of the screen is attached to the bottom truss, again by bungee cord. Each projector has three connections: a power cord, a VGA cable for the video signal, and a network cable used in the calibration process. Each bundle of three cables is color-coded for easy identification at the base of the screen. Once the cables are connected, the assembly process is complete. The process for assembling the larger screen, 24 feet by 32 feet, is essentially the same, except that 3 motorized winches are required for greater stability of the wider screen. Because they may shift during transit, the projectors on the two screens need to be calibrated. Calibration is a computer-automated process that ensures that each projector displays its precise image down to the nearest pixel. When complete, the audience will see only a single image on each screen, even though many projectors are creating it. Once the projectors are calibrated, the screens are ready for the performance. One unique aspect of this screen design is that the position of the screens relative to the audience and to each other can be changed very easily during the production. This effect was used several times during the Porgy and Bess production. Virtually any digital images can be projected on the screens. In the case of Porgy and Bess, the still shots of the buildings and fishing vessels were taken in Charleston, South Carolina. The images of Kittiwah Island were filmed on beaches on the North Carolina coast. The opening scene of Jazzbo's Bar was taken in a restaurant in Lexington, Kentucky. Since the screens can be of any size, can be moved easily on stage and the images changed instantly, this technology offers the potential to radically change the way that opera is produced, and the Atlanta Opera is at the forefront of its development.